Hello everyone, this is Divya, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science with Data Analyst, Dr. SNS Rajalakshmi College of Arts and Science. So in Big Data Technology, today we are going to see about time series analysis. That is the power of time series analysis, which is the temporal data to the drive informed decision and predict the future trends here. So what is the time series data, which is the definition and example. Here understanding the temporal data, that is the time series data sequence of the data which is in a time order, and each data which is points the corresponding and specific timestamp here. So the common example like stock prices over the months and daily temperature reading and hourly website traffic and sensor data from the IoT devices. These are the some of the data sequence of the data in a particular time series. So why the time series analysis matters in the big data? So which is for the predicting power. So for the forecast future and greater which is accuracy, which is aiding the strategic planning we need for it, and anomaly detection, that is identifying the unusual patterns or outliers that can be indicate the fraud or the system failures or the critical events here. So operational optimization to improve the process by understanding the patterns and optimizing the resource, which is resource allocation based on the historical data here. So this is why the time series analysis matters in a big data. So key challenges of the time series analysis with the big data. With the powerful analyzing the time series of data, which is unique challenges that requiring the approaches for the infrastructure where the volume and velocity, which is handling the massive data sets in the generator, the high speeds, and for the data quality, which is ensuring the accuracy and completeness dealing with the massive type of values here. So computational complexity, which is processing and modeling the large series of data, which is demands the computational resources here. For the model selection, choosing the appropriate algorithm that can be effectively capture the temporal dependency for the big data here. So essential technique for the time series forecasting, the ARIMA models, that is auto regressive integrative moving average, which can be fundamental of understanding the predictive future points in a series, and then exponential smoothing, that is techniques that can be excellent for the data with trends and seasonally, which can be providing you the robust short-term forecast here. Then machine learning can be the algorithms such as a random forest and other neural networks for the complex pattern here, which is the deep learning. It may be networks or particularly capturing for the long-term dependency. There is a need of advanced forecasting where there is a need of deep learning are needed here. So exploring time series anomaly detection, the statistical method that is using the statistical test, that is control chart and flag data points, that is it can be expected behavior here. While we go for the machine learning algorithm, that the employing algorithm like isolation forest or one class SVM, this can be detect the unusual patterns without any prior knowledge of the anomalies here. So the deep learning approaches which can be the neural and learn normal patterns to identify the complex time series here. The real world application case studies in industry, that is for the stock market prediction, forecasting stock prices of the market, which is trained to inform the strategy and risk situation, and then the weather forecasting, predicting the weather patterns for disaster or agriculture or daily planning here. When I go with the demand forecasting, which is predicting the energy consumption for optimizing the resource allocation and prevent the blackouts also, where the healthcare patient monitoring, the detecting the patient's vital signs for the early and improved care outcomes here. Tools and techniques for the big data time series, where the programming language with the Python with the libraries like Pandas and NumPy, where the R are industry standards for the statistical computing and machine learning here. So big data frameworks of the Apache Spark and Hadoop, these are the processing capability for the vast data sets here. Machine learning libraries like we deploying the advanced deep learning models, specialized database where the time series database like time scale DP or the optimized for the storing and also querying temporal data efficiently here. So best practices for the implementing some time series is obviously the data pre-processing, feature engineering, model validation and scalability and optimization and continuous monitoring. These are the most important practices for using the time series. So finally the mind map. So time series is what is time series and why it matters and what is the challenges we are facing here and what is the technique has been used implemented in the time series. So these are the overall of what is time series, why it's needed and what is the challenge we are facing in the big data and what are the techniques we have implemented for the time series analysis in big data. Hope you all understand. Thank you so much.